Okay guys, it is Old World Wednesday and I'm coming back with another entry for my Dogs of War collection. As you know, I'm building a Dogs of War army. I've already got it pretty much built and sprayed. Still a few bits and pieces to collect, but we'll get there in the end. Now, I'm trying to put together as many kind of bizarre and interesting figures as possible to represent different characters for this army. The army as a whole will of course be represented by an Empire book, so kind of have to fit inside of that criteria. So one of the things I'm doing is of course adding a wizard to my army, and for this I'm going to be using the Truthsayer from the old Albion campaign. This is a model that is absolutely stunning and something that I've wanted to paint for a very long time, so I'm very excited to do it in today's video. So let's get into it. Okay, this is the beautiful Truthsayer miniature. It was released in 2001. That makes it 24 years old. So this is an awesome piece and something that I've wanted to paint for quite a long time. I did originally have a fine cast one, which I wasn't really too keen on painting up. And I did show this off in my Dogs of War showcase. Some kind person out there messaged me and said he had a metal one that he was willing to send me, and he did send it to me. So big kudos to that gentleman for sending this guy. And in true kind of fashion, I'm going to now paint this model up to the best of my ability as a way of saying thank you to that nice guy. Okay, so first of all, let's talk a little bit about what a Truthsayer is, why I like them so much, and how they fit into the kind of wider world that is the old world. So, a Truthsayer, also known as a Soothsayer and erroneously as a Druid, are not native to the old world. They are often exiled magic users who originally served as the mystical advisors and leaders of the tribes of savage men who inhabit Albion, their island home sealed beyond a wall of magical mist for many centuries. Truthsayers live as hermits, preserving their sorceries of their ancient land through ritual and ceremony, waiting for the promised day when the mists will rise and they can return home once more. Albion was the site of a major conflict between many factions of the known world in the early years of the 26th century, who were invited to intervene in a conflict between the island's traditional caste of magical caretakers, the Truthsayers, and the dark emissaries of the demon prince of chaos undivided, Mediocre. Known as the Dark Master, the first demon prince hoped to use the power of Albion's Ogwam stones to end his curse and regain his ability to take physical form so that he might pursue his campaign of vengeance against the greater chaos gods. So that's a little bit about what a Truthsayer is. As you can see, they're kind of like druids. I get kind of Celtic Irish themes from them, so it really does suit my aesthetic. I like it a lot, so I'm very pleased to have one of these guys in my army. There is obviously the counterpart to this guy, the Dark Emissary, which is another beautiful miniature, and they of course are like the evil wizards that live on the Albion Islands and try and kind of thwart the Truthsayer's plans and all that kind of stuff. So very cool. And it's a really cool piece of information and lore that comes from a very old campaign book, which really isn't really talked about anymore. So it's nice to bring this story to the front once again. Okay, let's talk a little bit about the role of a Truthsayer. It is rare to knowingly encounter one of these reclusive Truthsayers of Albion, for they are naturally suspicious of all that walk on two legs, being masters of either the magic of Gur or Gairan, or at least practitioners of both. Truthsayers are able to shapeshift into beasts of all size and or control the power of the natural world's flora. Thus do Truthsayers avoid unwelcome company by evasion in the form of a hawk or by bloodshed in the form of a raging dragon. Yet if the Truthsayers themselves are seldom encounters, the same cannot be said for their domains, which are scattered throughout the wilderness. In such remote places, even the lowest beasts show glimmerings of intelligence, and the vegetation grows wilder, stronger, and hungrier than an odd. When a storm of magic occurs, the Truthsayers steal away from their hillside hermitage and seek out allies. Only with the aid can they hope to marshal enough magical power to undo the spells of shrouding that conceal their homeland, and thus seek allies for their cause from the wider world. Driven by this desperation, many Truthsayers have found themselves battling alongside unsavory allies, harnessing their mastery of jade magic to a destructive cause. The goal on these occasions is to work a greater good by committing a small evil, but with every step along this path, the reclamation of their home becoming an ever more distinct dream. Only a Truthsayer of purest actions has any hope of annulling the shroud of mists that encircle Albion and hide it from the realms of the other people of the known world. and in such matters there can be no such thing as a minor taint. So there you have the little bit of story about what a Truthsayer is, and as you can see, this one in particular has aligned himself with my Dogs of War army. So this guy, of course, has fallen down the path of doing a small evil for the greater good. Will this work out for his immortal soul, or will he kind of corrupt himself even further by joining the ragtag motley crew that is my army? I am, of course, painting him to match my particular army, which is, of course, that beautiful orange and black scheme, and I'm having a whale of a time getting him painted. I do love his big, beautiful, double-crested mohawk that he has going on, and I think that really works for that split scheme, the orange on one side and the black on the other. It, of course, screams at me Rufio from Peter Pan, but that's neat. Maybe he was a lost boy who has, unfortunately, found his way to my Dogs of War force. So it is actually a treat to paint this guy. I'm using a lot of too thin coats. You guys know that whenever I'm having a little bit of fun and I'm playing around, especially my Dogs of War force, I do lean on those paints a lot. And I do think I get some of my best results when painting when I'm using those. If you ever want to try them out for yourself and you're from England, I do of course have affiliate links to things like Element Games linked below. If you ever want to buy anything from Element Games, you can use my affiliate link. It costs you not a cent more, but of course the channel will get a nice little kickback. If you're also enjoying this video and want to see more videos like it, you are enjoying Old World Wednesdays, the best way to show that you are liking it is to give the video a like, comment something down below, next model you'd like to see, or favorite Old World army or stuff like that, and make sure you're subscribed. Those three things cost you zero, not a cent, but they make all the difference as to how many people see our videos and how quickly the channel grows. And of course, if you want to help support the channel even further, we recommend things like the Patreon and channel membership, which is linked down below as well. You get access to a private Discord server. There's over 400 awesome hobbyists there now that you can talk to about your hobby, get inspiration from, bounce ideas off. And of course, be part of all the different events that we host over there, painting competitions and monthly showcases. You guys also get an extra video every single week just for you guys. So if you want extra content from me every single week, then channel membership or becoming a Patreon are the best ways to go about it. All right, now back to this Truthsayer. As you can see, I'm now taking my time and really pumping up those orange tones to make them pop. I really liked playing around with the skin. I decided not to go with contrast to begin my skin. I have been finding my skin tones to be a little bit lackluster recently. They haven't been jumping out as me as much as they normally do, and I haven't really been enjoying painting them. I do think maybe the contrast skin tones are not my favorite way to start off. I definitely think I get a nicer result when I do just go with a solid base paint of skin tone and then working it up from there, like this Truthsayer. And a few other projects I've tried it with, I think it's made all the difference. That's why I painted the skin on this miniature first to see how that would look. Now moving over to the black sections of the model. We did a 3-stage highlight with the orange. Obviously it's a brighter color with sharper tones. But for the black, we are only going to go for 2 highlights, which is all you really need to make black pop off the model. Although the model is usually split right down the middle with the orange and black, there's a lot more of both. This model is obviously quite a lot kind of difficult to split with that scheme because he is mostly naked. But I just did the front of the loincloth orange, the back of the loincloth black, and then split the hair. To balance it out a little bit more, I also did the shaft of his magical staff in black as well. I also took the time on my stream over on Twitch last night when I was getting this model prepared. I do stream on Twitch every Tuesday and Thursday evening, 8 to 10. So if you are, that's PM in the evening. If you're interested in joining us there, please do feel free. But obviously I built this guy up on quite a large cork base to make him stand out a little bit more when he is placed into a unit for my old world games. I do feel like sometimes characters, especially normal infantry sized characters, can get swallowed up by units. So having them be a little bit more outlandish with some nice scenic bases, I think makes all the difference. Obviously helps you pick them out on the battlefield. Using lots of natural tones for other things, like obviously he's got a lot of bones. So using the bone paints from Tooth and Coats to highlight those, the skulls on top of his staff. He's got some animal teeth on him. And I've decided to do the handle of his dagger in ivory as well, because I think that's something that he would use, and as opposed to something that's more synthetic, if you will. So he will use all the parts of an animal, waste not, want not, especially from a druid or something like that nature. Obviously, making his gold pop. These are, of course, a very signature thing from the Truthsayers of Albion, is the kind of Celtic style jewelry they have all over them. His hairband is lots of ringlets and stuff like that on them. But I also want to feel like these pieces were maybe forged in kind of a long time ago. So I decided to add lots of things like nihilic oxide to them. These pieces are inherited from a previous Truthsayer as opposed to forged in this day and age. I don't know whether Truthsayers can still forge fine pieces of jewelry. Maybe they can, but I like the idea of them being a little bit more kind of like found pieces, if you will. And with these last few bits of nihilic oxide applied to the model, we are just going to add some grass tufts, make him fit into his natural lands a little bit more. And for me, this will be the finished result of this awesome piece. I finally have a wizard done for my army. This is actually the fourth character I have fully painted for this new army. I think it's about time I actually started to churn through some of the units so that I'm able to get these guys on the tabletop and play some games with them pretty quickly. My goal is to paint them to a high enough standard that at some stage I may actually win a best painted army at a tournament. So I'm going to put as much effort as I can in with this army.